Hi, Taurus. All right, welcome back. So, we're going to be doing your July overview. We'll cover your lifestyle and your social life, your career, business, and finance, and also love at the end. All right, so this is for Taurus and Taurus placements. I hope that you guys are doing well, and we're going to jump right in. So, give me some messages for my Tauruses and Taurus placements for their lifestyle. What's changing up in their lifestyle in the month of July? Their social life, personal life, hobbies and interests, anything interesting or new, please allow it to come out in this reading. All right, we have the Nine of Swords, Five of Cups, and the Moon. All right. Okay. Nine of Wands. So, lifestyle, things in your lifestyle. Think your social life, your personal life, what you do to day, your hobbies, your interests, maybe your friendship groups, your social circles. It feels like with the Nine of Wands on the bottom of the deck, you've been through a lot personally, okay? And something could just be overwhelming. You could also be dealing with a lot of triggers right now. You could be dealing with a lot of foreshadowing, or just maybe having negative foresight about how situations are going to play out. You could be playing out situations in your head before you actually take action and you feel like this is not going to end well. Okay, so something is daunting on you because something could have been very tiresome with how often some type of negative circumstances just kept happening. And it just makes me think about you for last month being in hermit and just needing that time to yourself. Now it seems like you are looking to explore more this month, but you do have a lot of reservations. You could have some insecurities. You're not feeling as confident about putting yourself out there, okay? So, Nine of Swords, just overthinking people, situations, circumstances, having that pessimistic kind of flare lens on top of things, maybe making things out to be worse than they actually are. And it's something that you can't help. So, this is not you can't help it. This is just your mindset right now. Temporary, so it'll change over time, but this is really telling you to face your fears, and it's easier said than done, right? So let's see, what are you so worried about here with the Nine of Swords? Give me some messages for my Tauruses. What are you so worried about? Feels like you could be worried about how you're being perceived, like people's opinions about you and your life versus what's true. All right, so we have the King of Cups. So, you are taking on a very logical role. You are remaining very emotionally mature, or you're trying. Like, this is something that you've been practicing, is to remain very emotionally mature. Keep your emotions in check. Also, you ever been in a situation and it could be miscommunication? Someone may say something that doesn't resonate with you well, and you start to get sad or maybe angry, or you just feel, I don't know, misunderstood. It's almost like you're trying to teach yourself to not go into that gray area, to just stay logical about certain situations. Like, even if you feel a certain energy, not to allow that to change your whole mood. So you're practicing this, but it is harder than, implementing. You're getting good at it though, King of Cups. So you are staying really secure. You're better than what you used to be. I'll say that, right? So that's a progress. Let's see what else is here. Hangman, okay? Hangman to me is just not doing anything. So, you know, I feel like you know that you're a likable person, but maybe you're misunderstood in some way. But instead of like testing that theory, you're just staying within, or you're not acting on something that you may really want to do. So say you want to go to some type of, I don't know, club. Maybe you like to plant and you want to go to the plant club. Or maybe there's like a what do they call it, like a wine tasting. Maybe you're like a connoisseur and you really want to go meet people and you really want to go to this, wine tasting, but there's going to be people there that you may have felt like you've had misunderstandings with in the past, or you just don't know what your reputation, how it precedes you. Instead of actually going and just seeing what happens, you're kind of like not doing anything, not gonna go. You're not gonna buy that ticket. You're not going to attend because there's some fears here. Okay, so that's something you're gonna have to work through. I don't feel like it's easy to just say that you're gonna do it and then go do it. It's something you have to practice. So maybe actually going to that event or going to that party or going to that outing, putting yourself out there and trying is gonna help you come out of that. But you have to ease your way in, right? So let's see what else is here. I just see you as someone who's deeply misunderstood, okay? Like people don't have the right picture about you, and that's something you worry about. Let's see what else is here. Yeah, Queen of Swords. So you could be seen as someone who is just very blunt, someone who is very detached, someone who could be cold, distant, but you are naturally the King of Cups. So you are very nurturing, you're very loving, you're passionate, you care, you're sensitive. I don't think people get to see that side of you. All right. Hmm. So this is like your biggest like demon right now. Is like being misunderstood, hating the way that maybe you're perceived, anticipating some type of negative reaction, and you won't know if this is true unless you actually put yourself out there. So that's something you're gonna have to work on this month. But this is all in the beginning, of how you're feeling. You'll ease out of this, slowly but surely. So just don't worry. Five of Cups. So there's some type of disappointment socially or with some type of interest in your lifestyle that is so hard to get past. Okay. This could feel like rejection. This could feel like, again, you were misunderstood. You could have said something and it was taken wrong. You could have did something and it was taken wrong. And it's so hard for you to just kind of like let it go. All right. The Five of Cups is like dwelling on the past, and it brings up those feelings of disappointment, heartache, whatever it is. So let's see what's going on with that. All right, so 10 of Wands. So this is a big burden on you, whatever this is. And the Five of Wands. All right, so this is tied to some type of group opinion. And you know that is like that battle is just not meant for you to like waver on your own, because when it comes to a group of opinions, you can't help what the jury believes. You know what I'm saying? You can't help with maybe with one person this could be easily tackled, but it feels like there's always like a mix of opinions. Some days people are for Taurus and then two people are haters, right? And then you turn your back and now you have four haters and one supporter. So it's like it's always something here. It's always some petty drama here. And for you, this is a big burden that you hold on to. Your advice is to let it go, but how can you do that without working through these things, right? Because I do see a lot of suppressed emotions. So it doesn't feel like you're talking these things through or maybe getting the healing that you need. Okay? Let's see what else. I feel like you need to talk to someone, Taurus. Talk through them, even if it's not like a friend or like a family member, like even someone who's a professional, someone with the outside opinion, maybe, because I just see a lot of suppression and I feel like this is bogging you down. All right, Queen of Pentacles as well. So something could be misunderstood about like your values, your mannerisms, your behavior in some way. Something could be misunderstood, maybe even about your parenting with the Queen of Pentacles. All right. Also, there's something here as well where you feel deeply invested to whatever this is from the past. Okay. So whether this was relationships, connections, um, a passion of yours, you feel very invested, like you've invested a lot. And it could feel like some part of your core identity that you just is it didn't have a positive outcome, and it's still really hard for you to sway this in the right direction because of all these differing opinions and all these challenges associated. So you're being encouraged to drop it or to let it go or to move forward from this. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth your time. Even if you're being misunderstood, it's not even worth you trying to be understood. You know, they can't understand, if they can't get with the program, kind of moving on from it. But it's a big burden for you. It's hard for you to let go. You do care, and you feel very invested, like you invested a lot of effort, time, or even money into this. So it's really hard for you to let go of an investment. Does that make sense? What's going to happen with this situation? All right, Page of Cups. So there's some type of could be getting someone reaching out, maybe from the opposing side, maybe to apologize or even to relate to you in a way. So there is some type of positive outcome here. Um Now, when is it going to come? It's interesting because the 9 of Pentacles is here on the bottom, which shows this is when you've completely removed yourself and become independent from this. This no longer defines you when this apology comes in or when this favor comes in. This could even be like favor of the community or whatever this is. When this comes in for you, where the narrative is switched and you're accepted or you're valued or you're treated with sensitivity and understanding, compassion, whatever it is, you'll be so far removed from this. You would have by that time detached emotionally and regained some independence elsewhere. You could even be living a much better lifestyle by that time where this is just a non-factor. So I don't really feel like it's happening in July. This could be happening once you have worked to move on and you find success in some other group or energy. You find success elsewhere. You become very independent from the situation. It becomes a non-factor for you, but you are getting some favor when that comes, which is, kind of how the game works sometimes. So when you kind of move on in your life, when you show that you just are no longer caught up by this thing, you no longer care what the opinion is, this is when you get this favor. But by that time, you just won't give a damn. What's the moon for Taurus? That doesn't really seem fair, okay? Because I can feel your energy. I know that's not fair, but that's usually how this shit works, unfortunately. What's the moon? All right, we have the world. Definitely coming to a completion out of your depression. If you've been depressed or just in a low emotional state, that is coming to an end. You're coming out of that cycle and you're not repeating going down that cycle. You'll close that out. So this is happening in July, where you move on from the situation, where you get out of your head and you regain your confidence. See what else is here. There's an energy of like your best revenge, not being your paper, but being your level up. And that's the world, okay? Yeah, the Lovers. So this is like fated for you to have, for it to happen. You are coming out of this sad energy, this sad moment in your life. You're moving on to a new chapter, a much happier one, a much more spiritually and energetically aligned chapter for yourself. And this will be a non-factor very soon. Definitely not suppressing your emotions during this time. Speaking about it, Also feeling your emotions, not hiding them down within. What are these feelings that you feel? You feel isolated, acknowledge that. If you feel overlooked, acknowledge that. If you feel rejected, acknowledge that. If you feel insecure, if you don't feel confident, acknowledge those things so that you can let them go and release them. This is like so insignificant to what's to come. Just know that, okay? All right, Taurus, let's move on to your career, your business, and your finances, okay? So give me some messages for Taurus. Tell me about Taurus's career moving forward, or their business and their finances in July. What can they expect to happen with that? All right, we have the Four Swords. Seven of Cups. In the Star. Okay, really nice. Bottom of the deck, we have the King of Wands. So do expect yourself to have a deep motivation towards your career goals, your business goals, and your financial goals. You're going to be so driven. You're going to be such a go-getter. You're seizing opportunities. You're being a leader. You're making stride. So you're having all this amped up energy, and you're bound to get a lot done this month in terms of your career, business, or finances. I do see you in the beginning of July taking a much needed break. You are listening to your body, which is great because I feel like there could have been concerns of a burnout. I don't know, I'm getting dehydration as well. So I don't know if you're not like drinking a lot of water. Maybe you're so busy throughout the day, you're not like keeping hydrated. But there's definitely like concerns of a burnout if you are not taking much needed rest. So not getting yourself into a rat race is going to be your best bet. You definitely want to prioritize your rest, your rejuvenation, your mental health, your physical health. Take that time needed off. It's okay. You're not going to be behind. Taking that time off is going to be really good for you. Allowing you to get your energy levels back up, because once those energy levels are back up, it's off to the races with the King of Wands. So let's see. Four Swords. Also, lots of thinking, okay? Lots and lots of thinking. Maybe making your next plan because you have some new goals ahead of you. So what you want in your career, you're thinking about that path. Is there anything I need to adjust? What do I need to go after this time? How can I make some power moves to get ahead? Especially also in business and also with your finances. Really just doing a lot of brainstorming. So good time to write down your ideas and your thoughts and your plans. Good time to budget as well. I don't see any financial constraints, but I feel like budgeting will be good too, because if you have some type of goals, financial goals, this will be a good time to get a good budget. This is also a great time for like planning for next year's taxes. So even getting your stuff in order for that. All right, so you may need to take a group from some. Sorry, what? You may need to take a break from some type of group initiative. So keep that in mind too as you're away. The workload that will be placed upon others, especially with you being so in your head about how you're perceived. It would be perceived very well if you just set up people nicely for your departure. So if you are taking a break, really helping a lot before you leave, getting your work done ahead of time so it's not such a burden on these other people or on the group effort. I think that's going to be really big. Okay, so just making sure that you put your ducks in a row. I feel like that's going to allow for people to make your reputation really positive when you're away. Like if you have a business partner and you know that you're going to need some time, taking that time because it is important. Obviously, it's coming out in your reading, but also setting up your business partner nicely so that they are not struggling or just so burdened with your absence. That kind of energy. All right, we also have the high priestess here. So there is an energy of being very private about maybe needing some time away or why you need time away. So if you're having health concerns, if you're burnt out, I do see you being very private about that, and you're being encouraged not to share too much. So say as little as possible. I feel like people really don't need to know your personal like situation, as long as they're set up to where for success when you leave. That's all that should matter. Okay, so I definitely think like not saying too much is really good, because evil eye is real. And even if telling coworkers like I'm gonna be out and I'm gonna take leave, people can be very envious. So saying as little as possible and just setting people up for success so that when you're gone, nobody can say shit. All right, Seven of Cups is here. So with the Seven of Cups, definitely very like fantasizing about the type of maybe fight like lifestyle you want to live, fantasizing about your business, fantasizing about your career and what heights that you want to reach, but not narrowing things down to get it done. So there's an energy of like, all right, you're doing all this brainstorming and you're coming up with these amazing imaginative ideas, but implementation is going to be needed for you to have that success. If you're dreaming it, you can do it, but you have to narrow things down. So you may have all these grand ideas, but which one is going to be feasible, which one makes sense right now, which one can actually be implemented that you can get started with right away in July. All right, so not allowing, like, keeping your feet on the floor, staying grounded, being imaginative and fueling that fire under you, but also taking action towards something, and not just jumping to the next shiny thing, because you'll be brainstorming so much things. You'll be sitting on a lot of like really creative ideas, but it doesn't matter if you're not acting upon one of them. Okay. So definitely becoming decisive about what you want here. What's the Seven of Cups? Six of Swords. Okay. One of those grand ideas is going to lead you to your new life or your new level with the Six of Swords. And there's also some lessons to be learned about not repeating something from the past. So in your career, or no matter what it is, career, business, or finance, Six of Swords can warn you against temptations and distractions. So that this time to be successful in whatever these goals are, you have to stay away from certain groups. These groups can be family, friends, or even other people in your industry, but they don't have the same drive or purpose as you. They could be tempting you to spend a lot of money. They could be tempting you to be lazy or, party, 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 but not working, working, working. So really staying away from people, places, situations that distract you or tempt you to go into a place where you're not making progress. So that's important, okay? Because there will be these temptations in July. Oh my goodness. I'm thinking about the craziest things, but okay, so they say that there's like this thing where like you can tell when people, there's this like well, how could I explain this? There's like this, what is it called? It's like an embarrassment that certain rug users have, where you'll know that you're in a room full of them because they just talk, right? And one thing that's common with this classification of rug users is like they'll talk about starting businesses and they'll talk about, like running for president. And it's so exciting and it's so like fantasy like, but it's just pipe dreams. And I feel like there could be a lot of people like that around you. Not saying that they're rug users, but this is what's like coming up in my head for some reason. I don't know. But there could be a lot of people who just talk and don't do. So separate yourself from those people, because even though those people are great for brainstorming or they're great for like getting excited and amped up, they're not great for like taking action and being accountable. So separating yourself from people who remind you of that scenario, okay? Because sometimes we think, oh, we just need to stay away from like cousin Gerald who just is lazy. But sometimes you need to stay away from the pipe dreamers, okay? All right, let's see. Whatever. All right, Six of Pentacles is here. There's definitely some resources. You could either, okay, there's some type of beneficial transaction here. So there could be people who want to invest or donate or give you money or favors towards getting to some type of goal that you have, career wise, business wise, or financially. And they're doing it because they see some type of benefit within you. So it's almost like having like like a private lender or angel investor investing in your business, but they feel like this has purpose, they feel like this is valuable, they want to be on board, they also want part of that return. So you're given something here in July, but you're expected to also give something down the line towards whoever's investing or giving to you. It's mutually beneficial connection or exchange, okay? And even if you're being called, Taurus, to be the one to give to something, it's an opportunity for you to receive down later down the line. Does that make sense? So you're either investing in something that is going to be sustainable, or someone's investing in you because they also feel like this is sustainable for them. So it's almost like keeping a promise here. All right. Something could be contractual or keeping a promise. It's definitely like a divine opportunity. I feel like this is meant to happen in some way. All right. Explain this a little bit more. Eight of Wands. Okay. So this opens up like the floodgates. I don't know if you're investing or this person's investing, but it doesn't really matter. It's if it's coming out, either you have the means to collaborate or invest, or this person or this entity does. It opens up the floodgates for you. It brings in a lot of opportunities. It brings in a lot of work. It brings in a lot of sales. It brings in a lot of benefits. It brings in a lot of money. All right. I think that budgeting is going to be really good for you, because the Eight of Wands, even though it's so much opportunities, money, and situations coming in, it also can be taking a lot out of you as well. So this is like money coming in fast, but can you keep it just as fast as you got it, you know? Um, or this could be like opportunities coming in really fast, but if you're not planning ahead, what happens when they die down, you know? So if you're going to be making a lot of money off of this, if this is happening very fast for you, it's almost like being very prepared and knowing what to do with it to make it substantial and long term. Because something comes with a lot of hype, but you have to know that things come in ebbs and flows. So just because something's coming with a lot of hype right now, who's to say in August it may not be a little slow for August? So you just kind of like being very resourceful with whatever you're gaining here, whether you're gaining a lot of money, whether you're gaining a lot of resources. Don't utilize all of your money, all of your resources in this month, because you're going to need it to carry over, okay? Anything else about this? Yeah, Queen of Pentacles, okay? Really good. If you keep moving forward and you stand clear from distractions, you'll be setting yourself up really nicely and very stable, okay? The star is here, so this is rejuvenation, especially if you feel like your finances, your savings have gotten depleted by some type of circumstance previously. You could see that this money is being replenished to you, okay? There could be a lot of money spent or earned through some type of like beauty or service like industry. So if you are a nail tech, if you're a hairdresser, if you're a barber, If you do massage therapy, if you do skin treatments, if you do laser, if you are a nurse, a doctor, if you're a therapist, a counselor, something is really promising for you in July. Okay. Now, if you're not one of those things, you could be putting a lot of money towards those things in the end of July. You could find yourself going to a lot of appointments, whatever. So, who cares? All right. Healing or mending relationships. So, if you feel like you've have some damaged relationships through yourself or just through circumstance with businesses or in your industry or in your career with a boss, a manager, if you have a damaged relationship with your money right now, I see that being healed and rejuvenated. Okay, so things are looking up and turning around for you. The star is also a helping hand. So again, there's some type of donation, favor, gift, help financially or even in business that you could be given or that you're being asked to give. It just depends on what circumstance you're on. If you need the help or if you are in a position where you can help, it definitely pays off in the long run. All right, strength card again, something about discipline and self-control and staying away from certain temptations or certain people. So just keep that in mind. All right, we have the Page of Swords. There's a curiosity towards the star. So you may be curious about maybe like nonprofits or some type of like community outreach program that you can start and make money off of. You could be curious about hospitality. So this could be like a hotel, Airbnb, renting rooms for a business model. You could be curious about getting into the beauty or aesthetic industry and trying to figure out information about how you can start with that. So there's a curiosity with the star here of like a way to make money. Even if it's by helping people, you can still make money by helping people, with the star. So I definitely feel like if you're thinking about that, definitely continue researching. You may find yourself coming up on another hustle. All right. Let's move on to your love life. Tell me about Taurus and my Taurus placements, their love life. What's going on with their love life in the month of July? Tell me about Taurus's love life in the month of July. All right, Six of Swords. Knight of Wands. And we have the King of Swords, okay? Definitely feeling like you're not in a place where you are looking to make some type of commitment or a long-term relationship, okay? Could be kind of closed off emotionally. And even if you don't feel that way in the beginning of this month, towards the end, you'll definitely feel that way with the King of Swords, okay? So something is kind of showing you it's not time for me to be open, or I'm not really in the lovey-dovey mood or energy. We have the Six of Swords, so there's again that concern about repeating cycles, being tempted and misled on your journey by some type of exes or ex situations. With the Knight of Wands, you could find yourself dipping back into that pond and then jumping right back out. Or if you're just completely, not going to deal with the past, you could be finding yourself dating people, but not really making any commitments, not making so much of an effort to where you're looking like more of the flaky type of dater. All right. And towards the end of July, again, you're just feeling like this ain't my month of love. Okay. I don't feel so lovey dovey. It's hard for me to open up and be vulnerable or emotionally open. or emotionally available. And that's something that I need to process and work through. Okay. Let's see. Six of Swords. All right. We have the King of Cups here. So it could be hard for you to move on from a situation that you're naturally supposed to, that has naturally closed its course. It's not for you. And with the King of Cups, you have a lot of love towards this situation. So you are trying to move forward from this situation, but you can't help but have so much emotion and love and compassion for whatever this is. All right. So when this person does come around or tries to get your attention, you do still have that emotion for them. And it's kind of hard not to look their way. But you already see this as a situation that's just not going to work out. Yeah, the Seven of Pentacles, you could have been waiting for this person to maybe get their stuff together to meet you halfway, and you're kind of like waiting in vain, right? So you could consider the situation a waste of time, but you still have the emotions connected to it. It's hard that when this person comes around not to go for it. All right, so I wanted to know about this energy of this person that you are moving past, but that still kind of can tempt you to come back around. We have the Nine of Pentacles and the Devil, which is like an oxymoron of a person. So this is someone who enjoys their independence. I feel like this person feels stable in their independence. You know, this could be someone who's worked really hard on their stability, their lifestyle. They have attained some type of success with that, and they like to keep that independent. They don't like to mix the two in a relationship. So it could be very triggering to someone's stability or where they finally landed on their feet and gotten really comfortable and made a way for themselves. Something kind of like makes them not want to be in a relationship because of that, like not wanting to mix finances, not wanting to depend on another person. But it's very confusing because in the same sense, this person is the devil. That sounds crazy. This person has the devil energy, which shows a very codependent lover. So even if this person not wanting to commit or wanting to remain independent or single, they are very codependent towards you. They breed this kind of codependent energy that you guys may have shared with each other. It doesn't feel healthy, could feel very toxic even. Okay. And with this person just comes like maybe a lot of drama or just puts you in a very negative emotional space. All right, so their actions towards you in July is the Two of Pentacles. So this could be seen as juggling or just not making you a priority. So whether this person is juggling you and another person, then there's that. But this also could be an energy of like this person is not prioritizing commitment over their independence, like, you know, being single. So you could be feeling like you're not a priority in this person's life, which could be hurtful, okay? So I just see that it reaffirms why the Six of Swords is here, why you should just move on. But that emotional energy that you have towards them is really strong. Now, one thing I do see with the King of Cups is that you do know how to remain very mature with your emotions with this person. So you've gained a lot of strength in your emotions with this person, but you still feel them. What's the Knight of Wands? Tell me about the Knight of Wands. Seven of Cups. All right. So definitely playing the dating game, especially in mid-July. And I just see you dating lots of different flavors, okay, with the Seven of Cups, but not really building anything with any of these connections. They could be very physical connections, you know, they could be very like a couple of dates and then done. It doesn't feel like you're really investing into any of these connections. You could be very in and out. You could be seen as very flaky, dodgy, playboy, playgirl. You could be trying to keep yourself distracted from the past as well. All right, Eight of Swords, self-sabotage. So even if you are meeting really nice people, you just won't allow yourself to get close to them. And that's how you come to this conclusion with the King of Swords that maybe I'm not ready to date, okay? Tell me about the King of Swords. Ten of Wands, again, that burden that holds over you, maybe with this past energy, and still being in the Six of Swords, needing to complete that transition. It's just not a good time for you to date because you're having a hard time opening up and connecting. You're not having a hard time meeting or having fun, you know, and also being like likable and being, you know, attractive to these people, but you are having a hard time opening up, and it's because you just need some more healing, the Star. So, you know, very self-explanatory, and this is something you'll go through as time passes. Time heals, you know. Time heals. And you also setting your standard, and you know, even though it may hurt, but to be very firm on your standards with this past person, that will heal you as well. All right, so this is your overview for July. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like the video before you go and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon, Taurus.